We just learned how to identify the slope and the y-intercept from a graph. The slope is represented by m and is the coefficient of the x variable. The b is a number by itself or a constant, and that represents the y-intercept. So if we're able to look at an equation and determine what the y-intercept and the slope is, we should also be able to be told what the slope is and what the y-intercept is, and then write an equation. Example 2 says we have a slope of -3, so that means m is -3, and a y-intercept of -4, so that means b is -4. So how do I put that into an equation? What do I do? Well, where am I going to put the -3 at? I'm going to substitute it in for m. Where am I going to put the -4? I'm going to substitute it in for b. So my new equation becomes y equals -3x plus a -4, which can be rewritten as y equals -3x minus 4. Okay, so let's break it down. They tell us what the slope is. We put it in for m, or put it in as the coefficient. They tell us what the y-intercept is. We plug it in the place of b. All right, let's try another example. It says write an equation in slope-intercept form, which is this. This is slope-intercept form. They're telling us the slope is 2 and the y-intercept is -8. Quickly come up with the equation when the slope is 2 and the y-intercept is -8. Tell your neighbor what you think the answer is. Fill it up. Water fountain, fill it up. Okay, Morgan. Excuse me. Morgan, go ahead. Or I could write it as -8. Okay, excellent job, Morgan. What she did is she was able to take the slope of 2 and replace m with it, and also take the y-intercept of -8 and replace b. Okay, now you have been able to take a slope and a y-intercept and write your own equation. Now I want you to do the same thing, except there's one more step. You actually have to find what the y-intercept is first, and then find the slope. And we're going to do it from this graph. All right? So we want to find out what the slope is. How do I find slope? On a graph, what do? Rise over run. Okay, very good. Now, I'm going to draw a step down and over between these 2 points. How far down did I have to travel? 2. Nope. 1. Just 1. So my rise was 1, but I was also going down, so it was -1. And then my run was over here. What was my run? 2. It was 2. So my slope is going to be what? 1 over 2. -1 over 2. Okay? Now what about my y-intercept? What about b? Here is my origin right here. 1, 2, 3. It crosses the y at 4, so my y-intercept is 4. So this is the one extra step we had to do. We had to look at a graph, identify the slope, identify the y-intercept. Now we simply plug that into an equation. Someone tell me what the equation is going to be in slope-intercept form. Cedric?
Y equals -1.5, I would say minus, no, plus.
Don't forget the x.
X
Plus.
4.
Very good, Cedric. Okay? Very, very good. All right? So, try the got it, D and E at the top of page 201. Got it, D and E at the top of page 201.